Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey, Levin here.
And Jason.
So there have been all sorts of, there's been a lot of speculation about Britney Spears. Speculation from that, is she dead, to has she gone off the rails, to what's happened to Britney Spears. So one of the reasons for this is that she's kind of gone silent on social media. And the stuff that she's posted, a lot of people think were things from the past, which made people think maybe it's not Britney posting. She also said that she was going to New York, but there were no paparazzi that ever saw her there. And then the final thing is both her mom and dad, Jamie and Lynn, that both of them are in Los Angeles all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So the question, why?
Well, first things first, as more so with Britney Spears than any other celebrity I think we've ever covered, when there is silence, people rush into the vacuum to concoct theories and to come up with plausible, in their minds, explanations for what happened. To answer your question why, I think goes back to the impossibility of understanding Britney Spears, and it's been that way since she burst onto the scene, certainly the last 15 years since TMZ's been covering her. I think that she has a very difficult time being in the public eye, and I think that her natural instinct is to retreat from that. And so if the question is why is she acting the way that she is, because this is who she is. She gets very uncomfortable. She wants to live a quieter life, then she will burst onto the scene in some sort of fit of need to be vindicated or to be seen, and they'll retreat again, and that's just not what her fans and the Britney fanatics want.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also there's another overlay, which is that, people are saying, okay, what's going on with her mental health? And I think a lot of people are saying that when they see things like this. This time, there's a real simple answer. So she didn't go to New York. It was a ploy to throw the paparazzi off. She went to Mexico with Sam. And the pictures that she posted, everybody thought that these were pictures in the past, which is interesting because if they were in the past, why didn't somebody surface them and say, this was published in 2016 or whatever? They were actually real-time pictures taken in Mexico.
Well, there was the video that she posted of herself in the shower.
Right. And
people really were thinking that was in the past, and maybe she had taken it and never put it up, and somebody had access to it, whatever it is. But, I mean, your point's right. Everything surfaced with her.
And why her parents are in
L.A.
They're in L.A. because Brian, her brother, has a kid who is starring in The Nutcracker, and Jamie and Lynn decided to come out and support the kid, which is interesting in itself that the two of them are going to be in the same auditorium because they don't like each other.
Do you mean the resolution of all of this is that Britney's in a really healthy relationship on vacation in Mexico and her parents are here to watch the little brother and be supportive?
No. I mean, look, this just kind of what can I say and what can I not say? Let me just think. Behind the scenes, there is some drama going on, and it really has to do with how much of an appetite does Britney Spears have to really work again. Mm-hmm. She's not really doing anything. I know she did the song with Elton John, but beyond that, there's nothing to speak of. And she does not seem inclined right now, which is her right, not to work. And there's some pushing and pulling going on in that department. And part of it is that Britney, you would think Britney Spears has just all this money, is just rolling in dough. She has a ton of money by normal measure, which was, when the conservatorship ended, it was around $60 million. But remember, she bought another house. She still has the old house. She is spending money. There's not a lot of money coming in.
Yep.
And we have seen this over and over and over. So there are some people who are worried because she did go broke once.
Yep.
And when the conservatorship started, it reset things and she made a ton of money. Now the question is, does she need to do it again?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a path with Britney doing the Elton John thing where she can work less than she has in order to pay the bills.
She's not going to tour ever again.
But she's never going to tour again. And in today's music world, that's the only way you make money. Now, she can do the Elton John song and make a few, I have no idea what she made, but I'm guessing it's a few $1 million for that. But again, that had success as a streaming, in the streaming world, but even the greatest, even Taylor Swift's of the world make a few $1 million off streaming. It's not like you're making 10 figures. 10 figures? It's not like you're making 10 figures, 8 figures. $10 million, 8 figures.
I'm just watching you flounder.
I know. It's not like you're making 8 figures from streaming. You're making a little bit here and there, a little bit there. Now, like you said, in the world's view, she's making enormous gobs of money, but she spends a ton of money. She has a lot of people that work for her.
I know this sounds crazy, but $60 million for a celebrity used to
fast.
spending what they want can go real fast. By the way, just one other thing. Jamie Spears did kind of break his silence. I'm not sure he knew that this was all coming out now, but he said something that whether you like Jamie or don't like Jamie, the way the conservatorship went, what he said at one point was, in this interview, he saved her life.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
He did. And, you can't take that away from him. That, what's happened is this has become like a Harlequin novel where there's a villain in a Harlequin novel.
I would
right?
assume so, yeah.
I'm assuming that.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a villain and there's got to be a damsel in distress, and she's that and he is the other.
Right.
But look, it may be that Jamie Spears did misstep. I think he made some missteps in the conservatorship, and it probably did last too long. But at the beginning, he saved her life.
And beyond that, there was clamoring at the end for her to get out and free Britney and everything else. And good for her. People should have the right to their own autonomy and the whole thing. And it doesn't seem like in the standard for a conservatorship, right? Are you a danger to yourself? Are you a danger to others? She doesn't seem to be either of those things. So I'm glad she's free, and I'm glad she has autonomy over her money and everything else. But I watched that video in Mexico of her dancing in the shower. There's something wrong there. I mean, I'm no psychologist. I'm just looking and
look. She was diagnosed.
There's something wrong.
She was diagnosed with a serious mental illness.
Yeah.
There are people who can function in life with serious mental illnesses. And, a lot of that has to do with medication, therapy and all that. And hopefully she's getting that. But, just because she has that doesn't mean she can't be a functioning human being.
Well, no, but we saw once upon a time this same woman not be able to be a functioning human being.
I understand.
And that's the concern. And again, I'm glad she's free from the conservatorship. But I watched that video, and I every time I see her post one of these videos, I grow concerned that she is maybe not totally capable of functioning.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's the thing. These issues don't get better over time.
That's right.
They do not
unless she's on medication or therapy.
Unless you deal with it.
And hopefully she's doing those
Hopefully
things.
she's doing those things.
Yeah.
Speaking of freedom, Elon Musk is going to get some freedom from Twitter.
I don't know. Is he?
Is he?
Because he said that he's so he conducts this poll over on Monday, I believe it was,
right,
saying that if the people of Twitter want me out as the CEO, I will step down. He puts this poll up. The people on Twitter vote, and they vote him out, basically. Predictably. He initially says, well, that this wasn't a real vote. It was based on bots. He's come around to the idea that, in fact, maybe they don't want him, and he's willing to step aside.
I will resign as CEO as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take this job.
Now, what's interesting about that is the first couple people that came forward and sort of raised their hands, not necessarily saying that they were qualified for it, he said, oh, by the way, you're going to have to invest your entire life's fortune in the company, and good luck. So if he's saying, as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take this job, nobody's willing to do that, invest their entire life's fortune. So he may be sort of stacking the deck against anybody else coming along.
I think this guy wants out of this role. It is, he's running SpaceX. He's running Tesla.
Yep.
He's dealing with Neuralink. He's dealing with the Boring Company. And I don't think he necessarily wants to decide who's going to be on Twitter and who's going to be off Twitter. It seems to be below his pay grade. And also, he's got issues with his other companies. Tesla's at a 52-week low in its stock. There are issues. So I don't think Elon Musk ever wanted to do day-to-day with Twitter. And I think this is a convenient out. And I also believe that he knew he was going to lose that vote. And this is all being set up for that very reason. Now, that does not mean that he's going to surrender power, because whoever he puts in is going to be beholden to him. And what Elon has made clear is that if he doesn't like you, he will kill you.
Right.
Metaphorically.
He'll turn on you. Yeah, that's right.
And so whoever takes that job is going to be a puppet. And they're going to have to mimic what Elon wants. And if they don't, Elon is going to tell him, do it this way. And if they don't do it this way, they're going to be out.
Yeah. I want to agree with you that he's playing chess here and he's just lining this up because he wants out. I do think, though, that he has that Trumpian streak in him where he's unwilling to admit he lost. And if he steps aside and if he gives the company over to somebody else, or if he ends up selling it, he said recently that yesterday, I think it was, it's close to bankruptcy. If you really want this job, you can have, somebody can have it. If it goes bankrupt, that's a huge loss for him. And I think it hurts his pride in a way that he might not be willing to take lying down.
Let me tell you why.
You think he wants to just shed it?
Let me tell you why I disagree with you. He plays on the edges.
Yeah.
When he started SpaceX and Tesla, there was a point where he almost went bankrupt. I mean, he put everything in it, and there was a real chance he was going to go bankrupt. He took that chance on himself.
He did.
And he's got to know that there's a chance he'd go belly up. He just has to know that.
Yeah.
And so he was willing to do it in spite of it. He had no fear about doing it, and it turned out he was right. But that doesn't mean he's going to win all of them. And I think he's got to be self-aware enough to know that that's a possibility because he's done it in the past.
But you remember with Tesla, and the reason that he is as rich as he is today is because when Tesla was at its darkest point 5-6 years ago, and production was hundreds of thousands of units behind, and he couldn't sell them and the whole thing, the board came to him. They said, we want you to step down, and he refused. And he said, this board said to him, if you're going to stick around, you're taking all the liability here, and you've got to, this is on your shoulders. And he said, in exchange for that, I want, if it succeeds, and if I hit these targets, I'm going to get enormous bonuses, enormous payouts, enormous equity. And they said, okay. And he bet on himself, as you said. Tesla exceeded all expectations, and he became worth $400 billion at one point. Here, he's saying the opposite, which is, I'm not going to stick around. I'm not going to fight through it. I'm going to step aside, and I think the company might go bankrupt, and I'm not going to be there.
Well, but he's also saying, I want to put somebody in place.
Anybody foolish enough to take the job.
Let me ask you something. Let's say in 4 months, Twitter goes under.
Yeah.
What happens to America? I'm really serious. I'm so.
No, I have that written down. We spontaneously combust, and we're no longer a nation.
I mean, the way the media is handling this, it's almost like it's a branch of government.
Yeah.
And I mean, people go on Twitter, but they'll go on Facebook, and they go on Instagram, and they go on TikTok, and they used to go on MySpace. And if Twitter goes away, there are going to be 5 companies that are going to instantly surface. And, for a lot of people, they're going to say, oh, that's even better. Or maybe there'll be 3 of them that take different slices of the pie.
Yeah.
But the idea that Twitter is so, wedded to our democracy, our government, our country, is, I just think this is ridiculous.
It is, and it's sure. A couple things. Number one, Twitter's not going anywhere. Even if it goes bankruptcy, somebody will buy it out of bankruptcy. The brand is incredibly valuable, and they'll put it up.
I know, but somebody bought MySpace, and nothing happened.
Yeah,
to
well,
it. You know what I mean?
They folded because everybody went away.
But then somebody bought it.
Yes. And somebody still owns it. I think it still exists out there, but there's no users. So the users will find somewhere else to go. I totally agree with that.
Does it have any impact if it goes away?
Well, I mean, there are lots of people who have voices. It's a single
They'll
place to go.
They'll find another place to talk.
They will. Look, long-term, zero impact. Very short-term, sure. I mean, the impact of Donald Trump not being on Twitter has been detrimental to him.
It's like, guys, when I was, until 1990, whatever, you had a payphone, and you went to a payphone. You didn't have the internet. And we got along fine. And now there are so many options. The idea that people aren't going to have a voice is stupid.
But
it's just stupid.
In 1991, before the advent of cell phones.
Oh my God, 1991. Are we going back that far?
Yeah, but before the advent of cell phone, they said, you know what? All payphones are today ceasing to exist. Yes, there would have been somebody.
Yeah, but that's not equivalent. There are a million places you can voice your opinion right now if Twitter goes away. It's not like a payphone
Yes.
where if I'm at a gas station,
fair
I have
enough.
no other option.
There are other payphones, but the truth is that if Twitter goes away, there's no single source for
Facebook.
But nobody has.
Well, they
now
will.
Posted like this.
I know, but they will.
First of all, Facebook.
Okay,
Come on.
fine. TikTok.
TikTok. There we go. Okay, but the TikTok's a different platform for a very, very different purpose. It's an entertainment platform. This is an information platform.
TikTok was a huge force in Johnny and Amber. That was bigger than the media.
Well, but people weren't going there to get. They were there to express opinions and
So what's the difference?
do
So what's
Johnny and Amber dances.
Well,
That's
not
what
just
people go
Johnny
there.
and Amber dances,
No.
but they were getting into the case, voicing opinions,
Yeah.
and it had a huge impact in America, much more so than CBS,
But the,
NBC,
but the
ABC
celebrities
combined.
weren't. Amber Heard wasn't on there doing her little tickety talk
Well, so
kind of
what?
thing. Yeah, but I'm just saying the celebrities, the politicians. This is the clearinghouse.
And there'll be another clearinghouse.
Yes.
It's like, my God, what are people talking about?
Yeah.
There'll
Why don't-
be another clearinghouse.
We should start one up. I'm just saying.
Oh, God, no, I'm too old.
Come on,
No!
Timzer.
Here's what we're
like
going to
that.
do.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring back the payphone. How's that? We'll see you tomorrow.